Phantom loss. You don't have it yet, but you can see it. A future, a relationship, an opportunity, and you're already terrified of losing it. You haven't even gotten it, and you're experiencing the pain of its absence. You're manufacturing grief for something that doesn't exist, and the fear is paralyzing. This is anticipatory anxiety mixed with phantom loss. Your brain is grieving a future that hasn't happened. It's experiencing the emotional pain of losing something you never possessed. And the cruelty is that this fear often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're so afraid of losing it that you sabotage it before it can be taken. You push away the person before they can leave. You avoid the opportunity before it can reject you. You're running from a ghost. The psychological mechanism is that your brain doesn't distinguish between real loss and imagined loss. Emotionally, they feel identical. Your amygdala, the fear center, fires up the same way whether you're experiencing actual rejection or imagining future rejection, so your body goes into survival mode. Your nervous system floods with cortisol. You're physically stressed about something that exists only in your mind. The terrifying part is that you're suffering twice, once for the imagined loss, and once for the actual opportunities you destroy while fleeing from the phantom. The void, you're lying in bed, and suddenly it hits you. You're insignificant, a speck of dust in an incomprehensibly large universe. Your entire life is a blink. Everything you do, everything you build, everything you care about will be forgotten. Dust. You'll die. Everyone you love will die. And in 1,000 years, you won't have mattered at all. This is existential dread, and it doesn't care if you're successful or loved or accomplished. It hits everyone eventually. This moment of clarity, where you realize that meaning is something your brain invented, that death is inevitable and absolute, and there's nothing you can do about it. What's happening neurologically is that you've temporarily escaped the cognitive defense mechanisms your brain usually runs. Your brain is designed not to think about death constantly. It would be paralyzing, so it keeps death in the background. But sometimes the filter fails. Sometimes you see through the illusion, and you see what's actually true. You are temporary. The fear is so intense because it's not irrational. You're not afraid of something that might not happen. You're afraid of something that absolutely will happen. You're afraid of death, and your brain knows it can't protect you from that. So it panics, it spirals, it tries to convince you that your life means something, that you matter, that the time you have is worth something. But in the dark hours, you know it's all a story your brain is telling to keep you functional. The cage. You're making a decision, a small one. You choose what to eat, where to go, and who to spend time with. And then you realize you're not really choosing. Your choices are already determined by your past, your biology, and your circumstances. You're not free. You're a machine following a script, and the script was written before you were born. This is the fear of determinism, the existential horror of realizing that free will might be an illusion, that you're not actually making decisions. You're a biological system running algorithms. Your sense of agency, your feeling that you're in control, is just your brain narrating actions that were already going to happen. The mechanism is that your brain has access to this information, that your choices are constrained, that you're subject to physics and chemistry and genetics, but it usually keeps it hidden. It tells you a story where you're in charge, where you matter, but sometimes you catch a glimpse of the machinery underneath. You see that you couldn't have chosen differently, that given the same circumstances, the same brain chemistry, the same history, you would make the same choice. The terror isn't just that you're not free, it's that you can feel the difference between the illusion of freedom and the reality of constraint. You can feel yourself being controlled by forces you don't understand and can't resist. And you have to keep functioning anyway. You have to keep pretending you're making choices when you know you're just playing out a predetermined pattern. Recognition. Someone really sees you. Not the version of you that you present, not the carefully curated image, but the actual you. With all your selfishness, your pettiness, your shame, your desperate need for validation. And in that moment of being truly known, you want to disappear. This is the fear of authenticity, the terror that comes from being genuinely seen. Because once someone really knows you, they have power. They know exactly what will hurt you. They know your weaknesses, your insecurities, your lies. And if you let them in, you're vulnerable. They could destroy you. The psychological mechanism is that vulnerability equals danger in your brain's ancient threat detection system. If you expose yourself, you can be attacked. So you build walls, you perform, you present a version of yourself that's less true but safer. You'd rather be lonely and accepted than known and rejected. because rejection of your authentic self is devastating. It means you're unlovable as you actually are. The cruelty is that the thing you want most, a genuine connection, requires the thing you fear most, being truly seen. So you spend your life with people who know a fiction of you, and you know a fiction of them, and everyone is alone together, separated by the masks they're wearing. The fear of recognition keeps you isolated in a crowd. Obsolescence. You're good at something, maybe the only thing you're good at. Your identity is built on it. Your value is tied to it. And then you realize technology is coming. Your skills will be outdated. Your relevance will fade. You'll become irrelevant. You'll be replaced. This is the fear of becoming obsolete, of losing the one thing that made you matter. And it's visceral because our entire sense of self is built on being useful, being needed, being valuable. Remove that, and what's left? Who are you if you're not useful? The mechanism is that your brain equates relevance with survival. Evolutionarily, being useful to your tribe meant resources, protection, and belonging. If you became useless, you died. That ancient wiring is still running. So the fear of obsolescence feels like the fear of death, because to your brain, it is. Obsolescence is social death. What makes this fear particularly modern is that it's accelerating. The pace of change is faster than ever. Skills that took a lifetime to build are becoming worthless in years. Fields are disappearing. Expertise is devalued overnight. So you're running on a treadmill that's speeding up, and you can feel yourself slowing down. You can feel the distance between where you are and where the future is moving, and you know you can't keep up forever. The loop. You know how this ends. You can see the pattern. You're going to make the same mistake you've made 100 times. You're going to choose the same wrong person. You're going to sabotage in the same way. You're going to fail in the same manner. And you're going to do it while fully aware that you're doing it. This is the fear of being trapped in a repetitive loop. Being aware of your own patterns, but powerless to break them. Your consciousness is screaming at you to stop, but your instincts are stronger. Your neural pathways are deeper. Your defaults are overwhelming your intentions. The psychological mechanism is that awareness isn't the same as change. You can understand exactly why you keep making the same mistakes. You can see it clearly, but knowing something and being able to stop doing it are completely different systems. Your rational brain can see the pattern. Your emotional brain is running the autopilot. And your emotional brain is older, deeper, stronger. The terror is the helplessness of it. You're watching yourself make the same choice again while knowing it's wrong. You're trapped in a behavioral loop that you can perceive but can't escape. Every time you repeat the pattern, the neural pathway gets deeper. It becomes more automatic, more you, and you're getting worse at breaking it, not better. Because every failed attempt to change actually reinforces the pattern. Your brain learns. You can't escape this. This is who you are. Infinity. You're going to die. That's not the scary part anymore. You've made peace with that. The scary part is, what if you don't? What if consciousness continues? What if there's an afterlife? What if existence is infinite? This is the fear of infinity. The terror that comes from the possibility that you never actually stop existing, that your consciousness might go on forever, and forever is too long. A human mind isn't built for forever. It's built for narrative arcs, for endings, for closure. But what if there's no ending? What if you're conscious forever in a void? What if you're trapped in your own mind for eternity? The mechanism is that humans can't actually comprehend infinity. It breaks something in our thinking. We can imagine large numbers. We can imagine long time periods. But infinity isn't just a bigger version of those things. It's a different category entirely. And when your brain tries to actually contemplate eternal existence, forever, it glitches, it spirals, it enters a kind of recursive panic. The fear is worse than the fear of death, because at least death ends. At least there's a finish line. But what if there isn't? What if you're conscious forever? What if you're alone in existence for trillions of years? What if every atom of your body disperses, but your consciousness remains? The horror isn't existence. The horror is that it might never end. The mirror. You're capable of anything. Given the right circumstances, the right desperation, the right justification, you would hurt someone, you would betray someone, you would do the exact things you're horrified other people do, and you know it. You can feel it in yourself, that capacity for cruelty, that willingness to harm if it benefited you. This is the fear of your own potential, the terror that comes from recognizing that you're not fundamentally different from people you despise, that you contain the same darkness. That is the only thing separating you from becoming a monster, circumstance, and choice, and you're not sure you'd always choose differently. The mechanism is that your brain generates both moral impulses and immoral impulses. You have the capacity for compassion and cruelty, generosity and selfishness, love and hatred. Most of the time, you identify with the good impulses and reject the bad ones. But in moments of honesty, you realize they're all you. You contain all of it. The saint and the predator exist in the same mind. The terror is the responsibility that comes with that knowledge. You can't blame your evil impulses on being a bad person. You are the person generating them, and you can't guarantee that you won't act on them. You can't guarantee that, given the right pressure, the right trauma, the right rationalization, you won't become someone you never thought you'd be. Fear tells you something about yourself, not about the world, about you, about what you value, what you've lost, what you're hiding from. And if you understand that, you understand yourself. If you want to dive deeper into the darker corners of the human mind, hit that subscribe button. New mind-bending videos drop every single week that'll challenge everything you think you know.